Today we're talking about rising inventory and how it affects the Louisville house price in today's market and what we're actually seeing. We're going to be looking at MLS data and discussing what it actually means, as well as what we're seeing in the marketplace. Now, if you're new here, my name's Spencer Lowe. I'm with United Real Estate Louisville. I've been selling real estate here in Louisville since 2019. I was also a mortgage lender for a couple of years. I stopped doing the mortgages. I really focus now all on real estate. So if you are looking for an agent, I'd love to help you out. I've got my phone number linked down below. I've also got 2 free things for you down there. I've got my 7 most expensive buyer mistakes that buyers make all the time that I see buyers make. So I've got the link down below. It's completely free to download. So go grab that if you're looking at buying a house. And then the other thing is I've got my 7 must-do things that you got to do before you list a house here in Louisville, Kentucky. It's down below as well. So make sure you go and grab that as well. That just helps you get the edge when you go to list. So that way your house actually stands out on the market. If you are new here, make sure you click that subscribe button as well as the bell notification so you don't miss any other market updates, buyer and seller tips, or any videos like this where we break down what the market's actually doing in today's market. With all that being said, let's jump into the video. Now, what we're going to be looking at today is how the inventory is actually rising and how it's affecting the prices. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the inventory rising. And so currently year over year, we're up 33.4% on our inventory, and new listings are up 21.6%. So we're seeing a lot of inventory be listed onto the market. It's affecting our absorption rate, which is basically our months of inventory. We're sitting just about 2.5 months right now, which is important because 6 months is considered as an even playing field amongst buyers and sellers. So we're not necessarily getting into this buyer's market like everybody's talking about, but what's really happening is we are seeing more and more inventory stack up, and our buyer demand isn't necessarily keeping up with that new inventory being listed, which is important because you're going to need to make sure that your house actually stands out in today's market, and also making sure that it actually is priced right in today's market, which is really important to actually getting it to sell. So inventory is definitely up 33%, plus our new listings are up 21.6%. So just know that yes, our inventory is continuously climbing, which is giving buyers more options. And when buyers have more options, they also have a little bit more of a foothold in terms of the negotiations to get more of the things they want. So they might be able to get you down on price. They might be able to get closing costs negotiated in, different things like that. We're seeing buyers get more of now, because especially 2 or 3 years ago when it was extreme seller's market, you'd list a house with no prep work. You list it at market value, and the next day we've got 4 offers on the table, and most of them are over ask. So our rising inventory is definitely affecting that. We're not seeing as many multiple offer situations, and we're seeing buyers get a little bit more of a foothold in those negotiations. Now, I know we just talked about the absorption rate a little bit, but let's go a little bit more in depth on this. So essentially, we've got in October we were sitting at 2.56 months of inventory. Now here's what that means for you. So 6 months of inventory is considered as an even playing field amongst buyers and sellers. Now, with that being said, it's really important that we not only look at the total number of listings, because it's kind of irrelevant when you think about it. So total number of listings, we could have 20,000 listings on the market, but if we're selling 10,000 houses per month, we've only got 2 months of inventory. Now in Louisville, 20,000 listings would be a lot, but if we have the buyer demand for it, it's going to get eaten up pretty quickly. So what we're really looking at here is how many months of inventory do we currently have, because it not only takes into account the seller supply, which is one piece of it, but it also takes into account the buyer demand for those houses. Now year over year, we're up about 29% on our absorption rate, meaning we went from about a 2 months inventory to about a 2.5 months inventory. So we were sitting just under 2 months last year this time. So we were sitting at like 1.96 months of inventory. Now we're sitting at 2.56 months of inventory. So up about a half a month. But with that, right, just keep in mind that we are growing in our absorption rate, which is important because the pendulum is starting to swing back towards the buyer's market more so than what it was in 2020, 2021, and 2022. Now the fun part, which is how the actual market is moving because of this. So in today's market, our median sales price is actually up by 4.67%, but our median list price is actually down by 3%. So what's that mean? That means that home prices are staying stable, but listing prices have come down a little bit. So what's that mean? That means that buyers aren't necessarily willing to come in and pay a little bit extra for it, but what they are doing is they are adjusting their price a little bit to get a little bit more competitive. So we're seeing our sellers get a little bit more competitive in this inventory surge. So we need to make sure that when we list a house, we're listing it at the market value, and we're not going over it. A lot of sellers have this thought that they're going to list it above what it's truly worth, and then they're going to be able to negotiate down. But what happens is it sits on the market for 30, 60, 90 days, then they do a price adjustment. So if they listed at $20,000 high, they might do a $20,000 price adjustment. That's great, but now everybody that comes in looks at it and goes, well, what's wrong with it? Why has it been on the market for 90 days? That's abnormal in today's market because houses are still selling. Our median days on market is 13 days. So we're not even at 2 weeks for median days on market from the time a house is listed to the time a house accepts a contract. So with all that being said, essentially Sellers need to get more competitive, because if they don't list it at the right price, it costs them days on market, and then buyers start to wonder what's wrong with it, and then they also start to think that the seller's desperate. So then what are they doing? They're going to make a lowball offer. They're going to come in a little bit lower because they think they've got negotiation power because it's sat on the market for 90 days. With that, we want to make sure that we're listing at the market price, maybe a little bit under the market price, just so that way we can excite the buyers and get more buyers in the door. If we need to sell it a little bit quicker, we might go just under that market price to get more buyers interested in the property right off the bat. Now, the bottom line in all of this is, first off, buyers are having more choices and more negotiation power in today's market than what they had last year this time. The other part of this is the sellers need to come in and they need to price their house at market value. They don't need to go over it, because let's be really honest, that costs them days on market. Chances are, if you list your house $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 over what it's worth, in 60 to 90 days, you're going to be doing a price adjustment. Or before that, you're going to be doing a price adjustment to adjust it down, because you're not getting many showings, you're not had any offers, and you're just trying to get it sold. Then once you adjust the price to what it's actually worth, it's sat on the market for 60 to 90 days, and buyers think you're desperate, and then buyers also think they've got more negotiation power because it's sat on the market for 60 to 90 days. So when we go in, we want to make sure that we actually go in and price it from the market value from the start. The longer that house sits, the more buyers going to feel like they have more negotiation power. And then the last piece of this is, if you are a buyer or a seller in today's market, you need to realize that, yeah, we are still in a seller's market. So putting your best foot forward in today's market, if you're a seller, knowing that buyers have more options on the market, so making sure that we do that prep work correctly. We clean the house, we stage the house, we do the curb appeal, we tighten up the loose door handles and fix the holes in the wall, replace the light bulbs that are burnt out, and all those little intricate details of listing a house is really important now more than it has been in the past 5 years. And I've got a couple of videos out on my channel about how to stage a house properly, how to fix your curb appeal, different things like that that can actually really help you out. So make sure you click that subscribe button, because I'm also going to have more videos like that coming out in the future. Now, if you're a buyer in today's market, keep in mind, it is still a seller's market. And houses are still selling in about 13 days is our median days on market right now. But with that being said, we still need to make sure that we're coming in, pre-approved. We've sat down with an agent and discussed the process. That's a big mistake I see sellers or buyers making in today's market, is they go in and they just want to jump into the house showing process. They don't want to sit down with an agent and discuss the process and get their questions answered. So then they go under contract on a house and they have no clue what's going on, and they've got all these questions and everybody's throwing a bunch of stuff at them. The lender's coming at you, asking you for a bunch of stuff. I'm coming at you, your realtor's coming at you, asking you for a bunch of stuff, and it's really overwhelming because you didn't know what to expect. So sitting down with an agent early in the process is going to help you, know what's going on with the process, but it's also going to help you get a plan in place, and your agent's in your corner fighting for you, because that's their legal job to do, is they have a fiduciary duty to protect your interests. And with that, you just want to make sure that you pick the right agent that's going to sit down with you, discuss the entire buying process, get all your questions answered up front before we go under contract. And then the second piece of that is we want to make sure that we get pre-approved early in the process, rather than finding the right house and then getting pre-approved. What happens is you always find the perfect house on a Friday night at 6 o'clock, and then it's a hard time trying to get pre-approved. And everybody else, if the house is priced right in today's market, if it's prepped right, and if pictures look good and the agent's doing a good job on it, it's going to sell pretty quickly, even in today's market, with it slowing down a little bit. So if you walk in and you go, this is perfect, I like the price, I like the location, I like the house is good, it's in great shape, it's prepped right, it's staged right, I fell in love with it, chances are another buyer is also going to walk in on day one of the market, or day 2 or 3 or whatever, and they're probably going to think the exact same thing. So making sure that we have that pre-approval letter or proof of funds, as well as sitting down with our agent and making sure that we've got our full game plan laid out with them, is going to be really important to helping you get into that dream house that you want. Now, if you made it to this point in the video, I really appreciate you sticking around. Now, once again, down below, I've got my 7 most expensive mistakes that home buyers make in today's market, as well as my 7 must-do things that you got to do before you list your house here in Louisville, Kentucky, to make sure that it sells quick and actually gets you the right amount of money for that house. So I've got those linked down below for free. If you are interested in a free consult, I do offer those as well for buyers and sellers. I've got my phone number down below. If you got any questions on the buying process or selling process or what the market's doing, give me a call or shoot me a text. Phone number's down below. I'd love to help you out with it. Once again, make sure you click that subscribe button, as well as the bell notifications, so you don't miss any other market updates or any other buyer and seller tip videos just like this. And with all that being said, I'll see you in the next one.